Well, Mark, you had a few days to reflect on that result on Saturday. How's the camp feeling about that result?
Well, I think, hugely proud of the effort. I think the guys had question marks over them whether they could back up that tremendous performance they put in up in London against Harlequins, and I think there was no doubt that the intent and the adventure and some of that accuracy we showed up in Quins was evident against Racing, but ultimately we were a bit disappointed, to be perfectly honest with you. I think having gone 10-0 down and then got a 13-point lead and looked, I wouldn't say comfortable, but looking as if we were in control of our own destiny, we're feeling a bit disappointed on this sort of Tuesday morning. So it's a bit of a bittersweet pill, the answer to your question.
Yeah, it was a terrific game, and it could have gone either way in the end, I suppose.
Yes, it could have, and I think that's probably why we're not too disappointed, because it could have been a lot worse. Ultimately it came to the TMO in the end, and he ruled in our favour, which I think probably was a fair reflection, really, based on how we played and how they managed to fight their way back into it. So it's we're fairly happy.
And a great advertisement for the Heineken Cup in a way. What about Rob and Cusker and Ken Owens? Are they going to be fit for Saturday?
I don't think so. I think they're going to need a little bit more of recuperation time. They are progressing well, but it doesn't look like they'll be back ahead of schedule, which we knew was probably going to be a bonus if we had them back for this week's game. So.
What about Christian Phillips? Same question.
Yeah, he's trained with us today, so he looks like he'll be available for selection, which is good.
Back to the Pro 12 this weekend, obviously. Zebra, and they've proved this season that they're not pushovers anymore by a very long way.
No, they play a great brand of rugby, and they've scored a lot of tries in the Rabo in particular, and there's no doubt they'll be keen to continue that try scoring record against us at a home match for them. So we certainly won't be taking them lightly. We've got a lot of work to do in the Rabo, and I think we've shown in glimpses that we're capable of improving our performances in the Rabo, and it's up to the players now. They quite rightly highlighted it themselves. They need to bring the type of intensity and execution to the Rabo that they've been bringing to the Heineken. So it's great that the players identified that, and hopefully they can do that now come the weekend.
Yeah, because as you mentioned that you haven't the best start in the Pro 12. Are you hoping to take your Heineken Cup form into the league? Yeah,
definitely. I think you're right in saying that we certainly haven't had the best start. I think we've seen the best and worst of us really in the opening 4 or 5 rounds of the Rabo. Played some great stuff on occasion, and what's let us down ultimately has been probably, other than the Dragons' first half hour, has been our own downfall really. I think when we've executed to our level that we expect of ourselves, we've given ourselves chances in games to score and have scored. But I think the last 2 weeks has really highlighted that more than ever really. Our execution and accuracy at key moments has been really, really good on the whole, and we're, just like you say, we're looking to take that back into the Rabo now.
The Wales squad has been announced less than an hour ago.
Yeah.
Rodri Williams, obviously, the surprise, well, not a surprise inclusion. You must be chuffed for him.
I'm really pleased for Rods. He had a good stint with us a couple of seasons ago because we had some injuries at that stage, and he came into the team and did really well. And we've got numerous scrum halves here, and I've had some good scrum halves here who have now left that were keeping him out of the squad when he was only 17, 18. So I think it was the right decision last year to let him go and play regularly at a semi-pro level and to honour his under-20s commitments. And I think you're seeing that maturity now in his performances at our level. I believe he understands how to run a game a lot better because he's had that game time. He played lots of games for Llandovery. And now, we were always very keen for Rodri to come in this year and start competing for that 9 jersey. And let's not forget, we've got Alid, who played particularly well for us last year. And also Gareth, who started the season really, really well up until he got injured. So I think it just shows that if you get a run of games and you play well, that national selectors are not afraid to select.
If Rodri was to be selected to start one of the 4 tests, would he be ready for that, do you think?
Oh, definitely. I got no qualms about that. He's mature beyond his years. He understands, from my perspective, and how we try and play the game down here, what we want him to look for in defensive teams, where the weaknesses are, and he's only going to get better at that. And Wales are fortunate; they've got Mike Phillips, who's been a stalwart for them over the years. So he's a great backup to that now. You've got somebody in Lloyd who's been a part of the squad for some time, so I'm sure Rod will go in there and he'll mix things up. I've no doubt about that, and selectors have a headache, I'm sure. come selection for the Springboks.
And Rhys Priestland back in the squad as well. Is he back to his best?
Yeah, there's no surprise from my end of things here. He's worked particularly hard on his game in the off-season, and he's been very diligent in his preparation, and he and I have had numerous conversations about his own game, about opposition, and he's really seeing the picture at the moment very clearly, and he's making good decisions in the games, which is fantastic. And I'm really pleased that he wants to touch the ball an awful lot at the moment. He's looking for second touches. He's looking to get as many game-breaking opportunities as he can, and he's the sort of player that if he's on red-hot form, I think we saw in the 0-11 World Cup, he's a real handful for defences. So I'm sure he'll go into that Wales camp and put real pressure on Dan Biggar, who's the incumbent at the moment, obviously, and again, another headache for the selectors.
I was going to say that actually. That's one hell of a headache for Mr. Gatland. Priestland or Biggar. If you were him, would you obviously go for Priestland? Or?
Well, I had the opportunity to work with Dan in Japan, and he's a very, very talented individual. Got a great work ethic. So, listen, it's not my place to tell the Welsh selectors who they should be selecting. Rhys Priestland is a player who I very much admire, and it says how well he's playing because he's keeping Stephen Shingler of our team at the moment, who's also a very good player. So, Rhys, side back Rhys, no doubt about that. He's one of the best 10s that I've seen play, and I've only been coaching a short time, but certainly one of the best I've been working with. So, whatever selection they make, it'll be a good one, and fingers crossed for Rhys, it'll be him.
No Jamie Roberts in the squad. Is this Scott's chance to impress in a way?
Yeah, look, again, similarly to Rhys, really, I'm a big fan of Scott. He's got the potential to have a very rounded game, and has a very rounded game. He kicks the ball a mile. He's a very, very good runner, as you've seen. He can score tries out of nothing. He can attack the gain line. He's got good handling skills as well. So when Scott puts all that together at one time, he is a real handful. And I think you've seen that from him as well, probably for most of the season, really. Scott's played well right back to the start of the season. So, for me, he'll be a player who... It'll be a fool to bet against him starting in the first match if he's fit, I would say. He looks the form 12, I would say.
Marcus, Wales selection obviously is a double-edged sword. In that you've got to find replacements now for five, especially behind the scrum. I mean, do you think you've got the resources now?
Of course it leaves you short when you lose 7-8 internationals. I think John Barclay will be potentially away as well. When Scotland announced their squad, I'm sure he won't be far away. So, we could be down quite a few players, but.
Is that opportunity, as you mentioned, to someone like Steve Shingler, Gareth Moore?
Exactly, definitely, and those are players who last year, for large blocks, were the mainstays of the team. Particularly in the Six Nations and autumn periods, and did very well for us. So, from a backline perspective, I think the midfield combinations, Adam Warren's been going particularly well with the B&I Cup competition and in training with us. So, he's a player who could feel really aggrieved because he's done everything asked of him and really come on. So. He's another player who comes back into the mix with Morley to cover our centre issues. We've got Shings who can cover our 10 issues along with Aled Thomas. So got a bit of cover there. And obviously at 9 we've got Gareth and Aled who were our two starting 9s last year, sharing the role. So I think I think we're covered. Back 3 is a little bit of a thinner spot. Obviously losing Liam, but Jordan hasn't been selected as far as I know, so he gives us some options. I beg your pardon, and obviously Fraser Clymer will be over in the next couple of weeks, which will give us some options there as well. So
Gareth will win.
Yeah, Gareth's back fit this week as well. So be it they're all full-backs near enough, apart from Fraser, but the way we're playing the game this year at the moment, we're interchanging that position anyway. So we're not too worried about the actual.
You mentioned Jordan there, obviously. He's made a few headlines over this season over the summer. Obviously, I mean, people are suggesting he could have been a dark horse for the squad. Would he have been ready if selected?
Well, that's a good question. You never know if you're ready. No. I've been there myself. I look back at when I had my first cap, and I look back and I probably think now, at the time I thought I was ready, but now looking back, knowing what I know now, knowing how much experience I'd gained in 8 to 10 years, you just think how much better you are with that experience. I think Jordan's a great player. He's definitely one for the future, and I think it'll be to his benefit at the moment to play with us as long as he can and really learn what top level rugby's about week in, week out. And I've no doubt he's definitely going to be in Wales squads of the future. But I just think at the right time, both for the Scarlets and for him, I think it's the right thing that he's playing regularly for us, I think. And if he plays well, he'll get a call up. You know, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. And you mentioned an open game. If Zebra do play rugby, then that'll suit you like it did the Harlequins game, didn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. It's interesting. You know, you do the best analysis you can do on opposition, but quite a few times teams have really changed when they played against us because of various reasons. So, as a coaching group, we're mindful of best guess scenarios, but you've got to be prepared to just to play what's in front of you, and don't try and force too much down the players' throats. Give the odd trend of what to look for, but really have put the onus on the players really to see things for themselves. And occasionally that doesn't work for us because occasionally they don't see it, and that's human nature. But you know, I think try not to be too robotic with the players here. Fortunate that the players here are particularly good at scanning in particular. I find they're very good. Incidentally, the games that we've lost this year has probably been our worst scanning performances, where we haven't seen the things as well as we could have, and the games that we've won, we have. So, Zebra, we think they'll play a certain way, but you never know, Rob. You know, so hopefully, they will give us the opportunity to play some rugby. You know.
Is your Romanian going to come into attention this weekend?
Yeah, I believe he's cleared and available now to play for us. So I think he's very much in Danny's thinking in terms of the forward pack. And again, that'll be a mix-up then of whether we obviously Samson's not available again, so whether we freshen it up or whether we go with what we've had and maybe look to use him from a replacements point of view. The other option is just to get him out and play at semi-pro rugby just to see where he's at. You know, so I think Danny's still kicking that around at the moment. They've had a unit session this morning, so perhaps he's got a bit of a better feel now after that maybe.
Obviously, he said he's front row play, but he looks a big unit.
Yeah, he looks like he knows what he's doing in there. That's for sure. He's a very athletic man. He's very big, and I think he'll be more of a man handler than a ball handler, I would say. You know, based on his physique, he's a very big man. And
in terms of the what's the last game before the guys go off to the Wales camp? Have you had any talk about how important it is to build momentum so you can pass on to the younger guys when they take over next week?
Yeah, well, I think a bit of a cliche, but every game is really important at the moment. When you think out the fine margins, we finished 5th 2 years on the trot in the league, missed out by a point each time. And then we got in last year just by a point or two. So every game is crucial, even at this stage of the season. And we have to go over to Zebra and do a very professional job and take our European form, as I said to you, into this block, so that when we have a home game then against Ulster here, we've got some real good confidence levels, or really good confidence levels. And that when those more experienced guys move on, the group can come in feeling positive about the Scarlets game and the position that we'll be sitting in the league. You know.